How you doing, man? You right?
Good evening. I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Aching. This whole up in training is absolutely kicking my ass. It got
You'll,
me.
yeah,
Got
you'll
hold
soon
back.
get used to it.
Yeah, mate. I feel like I've aged like 20 years in the last week. It's rough. It's real rough. I don't the training you're doing at the minute. It's making me like just shake my head and be like, oof, I gotta step my game up a bit. But
Yeah,
feeling it bad.
yeah,
Anyway, thanks for jumping on, man. I was just like rambling on to everyone. Start off with that. I wanted to get you on to chat a lot, largely because at the minute there's a lot of people in our industry that are kind of, I suppose, people that didn't make it out of the whole lockdown. They kind of changed careers. It's had like a bit of a crippling effect.
yeah,
You kind of like thrived over it. Like you've
yeah,
been hustling, putting out a lot of content, working
yeah,
hard. And I think I wanted to chat to you kind of about your work ethic and how you kind of got through probably I would say without doubt, probably the shittest period of time for PTs in general, but you seem to have
yeah,
come out pretty good, in a pretty good light. Um,
yeah,
Before we start going into like your introduction into like the professional side of things, how did you start off in fitness in general? Like what got you down to your first gym, and then how did that kind of evolve into you finding a career in personal training?
yeah. So I first entered the gym when I was 14, with my brother Johnny, who you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It were at East Leeds Sports Centre. It's not even there anymore. It's been knocked down. And I remember I used to go swimming there, and I used to like just be able to see over the window, and I used to think like, I can go in there when I'm 14. I can go in there, and then Johnny took me, and he's like showed me the ropes and stuff. And I played rugby. I've always come from like a rugby background, so the training and the lifting kind of went hand in hand a little bit. And then it got to a point where I started taking it a bit more serious, to a point where I was like doing the whole bro thing, taking gear, meal prepping, fucking all that kind of stuff. And then I got a bit too obsessed with it, obsessed with the way I looked, then gained a little bit of weight. Then I actually got a personal trainer myself, who you know's been on, Nat Robinson.
I didn't realize
I saw some of the stuff he was doing when he previously worked at 1RM, and I was really into my training. Like Nat helped me pull my heaviest deadlift to date, 200 kilos.
Nice.
And I remember walking in 1RM and seeing all these guys PTing, and I was like, fucking hell, these guys get to do this for a job. Like, it was crazy to me, because I was really into the training. And whilst I was training with Nat, I studied to get my level 3 personal training course. And I've been qualified now about three years maybe. So not very long. I was quite a late starter into it, really. And yeah, it's just kind of gone from there, mate. I've worked in a pure gym. It were almost as if it were meant to be a little bit, because I were in a job that I didn't really like. I was painting and decorating. I've also got a qualification in that. And then when I left that career, a pure gym opened up like 5 minutes from my house where I used to live. So it were almost as if it were like the stars aligned.
Yeah.
Worked there for 2 years, and then a year of that was, the pandemic hit. Kind of forced me to move online a little bit earlier, because it were always the plan. I've done a few little bits online, forced to do that. And yeah, I've noticed that I could still get people just as good results without meeting them in a gym. And that kind of made my decision there and then. And it's led me to where I am now. Like, probably 95% of what I do is online.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I was going to say, like, when it comes to your marketing and stuff, you've got it really dialed in. One of the things that a lot of trainers kind of, I suppose, I don't want to say they make the mistake, sounds really judgmental, but they make the potential error of casting too wide a net and trying to help everyone, trying to be like the Swiss Army knife of personal training.
Yeah.
You've got it really dialed in, like, so you really speak directly to your clientele, and it's like that thing of like really zeroing in on who you want to get on board. What kind of led you to targeting like the clientele was it a case of that was a clientele that came to you to begin with and that kind of shaped what you did, or was that the kind of clientele that you enjoyed working with, so you marketed to them? Was it like a self-fulfilling prophecy? How did it work out that you ended up focusing in that area?
Yeah, good question, mate. And I think it definitely took some time. When I first started out, I was definitely working with anyone and everyone. And for me, I believe as a personal trainer, first starting out, that's fine, because you get to see who you like to work with, who you don't like to work with, different personality types, different goals, and all that kind of stuff. And it comes from a few reasons, really. One, I just like working with guys a lot more. Nothing against women. I've worked with some great women in the past as well. Got them some great results. But I've just found that my coaching style, it's a little bit direct, quite forward, is more suited to guys. I can also relate to some of the problems they've been through, because, like I said earlier, I've been a little bit out of shape myself in the past, gone through certain struggles myself, so I can kind of relate a little bit to that as well. And yeah, that pretty much it, to be fair, mate. I think because I've worked with different types of personalities and stuff, I kind of decided that guys who were similar to myself, out of shape, but don't want to kind of become obsessed, work really well to the methods and the kind of things that I do. Yeah.
To be fair, I think that's quite a good point to make, of like filling your time with people that you enjoy filling your time with. Because I think every PT at some point, probably when they're starting off, has had the clients that they don't, as bad as it is, they don't particularly enjoy spending time with, because they've got nothing in common with them, but it's money. So, you know, you take the client starting out, you know, you got that jump where you go from full-time employed work to PTing, and there's a bit of a drop in terms of income until you build up. But there's a period of time where you'll say, yes, like I can take on this person, and you end up filling your days with people that you wouldn't necessarily spend your days with. So the point where you're getting in people that you can speak directly to, that have a lot in common with you. It kind of like, it's a good mesh for both of you and clients. You know, you enjoy your time, which carries over into their sessions, because, you know, there's nothing worse than spending time with someone that knows that you don't particularly want to spend time with them. You know, so it's like it's just a horrible situation to be in any walk of life. I mean, even worse so, the person's paying for it. You know what I mean?
100%, 100%, and it just makes the whole process a hell of a lot easier. You know, because when I've worked with certain people in the past, like, there's been times where it's not really ended well, and I think it's been like a clash of personalities and stuff like that. So it's nice that I can not choose who I work with, but because I don't want to sound arrogant and say like I can just pick on with, because that's not how it is. But my messaging and my marketing and stuff like that speaks to a certain type of person. So naturally, when people reach out, more often than not, it's going to be something that I'm someone who I'm probably going to gel with a lot more.
I think that's probably one of the biggest benefits of your marketing style, being so focused that you know you're going to attract those kind of people that you enjoy working with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like you touched on briefly, like the transition to working online. They accelerated for everyone over the course of the pandemic, but you mentioned it was something that you were looking to do sort of long term anyway. What was like when you set out originally PTing in the gym? What was the long term goal? And obviously, when the pandemic hit, how did it accelerate it to the point where it's at now? And how do you kind of feel about the way things are going at the minute with your online coaching?
So we're always the goal was always to spend around 2.5 to 3 years on the gym floor. Originally, the goal was to get onto gym rent. I managed to do that fairly quickly, within 6 months of me starting. And then I started dabbling a little bit in online stuff as well, because a lot of the in-person stuff I was doing, like I was doing online coaching with them anyway, but just meeting them face-to-face for their sessions. The only difference now is my clients just train on their own. So I'm kind of already doing online stuff. And then I remember I started running a few like 6-week courses, like fat loss fundamentals courses, with the view to bring someone on as a client full time. And I started getting really, really good results for people online. And I was like, because when you're not seeing someone face to face, there can sometimes be a breakdown in communication. Like, you know, things might not get carried over over a message as much as they would in person. So I'm a bit worried that because I'm not seeing people face to face, there might be like things might not go well. So once I started getting results online, I was like, God, this is amazing. Like people, like I'm giving people certain things to do. They're going off and doing it. They're like trusting my advice. They're going off and doing it, and they're getting great results. And then that kind of sealed the deal for me that I wanted to move things fully online. Because I think it's being an online personal trainer. It's one of those things where it seems like it's really glamorous. Like people talk about, you know, you've got all this freedom. You can work from wherever you want, and like you've got an office job. You know, it's not as glamorous as people like to think. And the adjustment at first were quite difficult because I wasn't really going out and being social, obviously, because the lockdown and stuff like that. So I literally sat behind my computer all day. I'd go for a walk and train at home. And I didn't really enjoy it at first. Yeah. And then obviously started the jiu-jitsu training, getting around more people and like leaving the house more. And that helps load, like to find that work-life balance a bit more. So the transition was definitely a different one. But like things are going great now. I'm working with new guys. I've got clients like not just local to me. Like I've got guys in Newcastle. Like one guy who did one of my challenges a few weeks ago from South Africa, and I was like, fucking hell, it's insane. Like I get the opportunity to work with guys from wherever, and that was a big thing that appealed to me because I loved working on the gym floor. But once my diary became full, like there were nowhere really to go from there other than increase my prices. And there's only so many times you can do that, because every time I increased my prices, like my clients just said there were no objections, so I was still full, and I was like, well, I can't just keep upping my prices, you know. It's not fair on the client. There's only so much more I can offer and ask for more money, and I didn't really want to do that. So I felt like I didn't really have anywhere else to go, and the lockdown were kind of a blessing because it forced my hand, forced me to do it early. And lockdown 1 was the best ever quarter that I've had in terms of my business, working with clients, and that just gave me the confidence to pursue it full time. Well,
I think the point you made about the realities of online training not being like the not being you see pop up on Instagram. So if you ever see an online training course or mentor pop up on Instagram, it's always some twat with his laptop on the beach, just it's one of those. But
big 7 figures on a beach in Bali.
That's the one.
But you know what the crazy thing is as well? I see people like posting pictures of the laptop outside saying like, oh, today's office. But have you ever tried to work on a laptop outside? Especially when it's sunny. You can't even fucking see the screen. It's like, it's mad.
It's the worst, man. It's just like, this is the least practical thing. And not even to mention the fact that, it's usually pretty fucking cold in Leeds anyway, so I don't want to be outside.
What if it runs out of charge? You haven't got a plug?
Exactly. Like writing the greatest program ever written, and then just boom, all the power's down. But that's one of those things. Like, there's certain things that wind up on Instagram. One of them being like the online trainer working from the beach, like 7 figures, that kind of shit. And obviously the others being bots that just creep into my DMs and piss me off. But I think everyone gets those. Whenever you post something with a hashtag like fit or something like that, there's some wandering into your DMs to be a dick. I was saying to everyone, kind of like before we got started, like meeting you has been kind of like a kick up the arse for me in terms of like during the lockdown you built your own kind of like space that you're training people in and stuff like that. Pushed forward with the online stuff. And you talked about like the way it kind of impacted the balance. So at the moment, are you still finding yourself doing sessions in person? Can you pick and choose when you do those? Is it 50-50 or is it, they say, the majority of it now online? What's the change that's happened for you over the last couple of months?
Yeah, so a lot of my client base who I worked with in person moved online.
Yeah.
I train one person in person now, Paul, who's a long-term client of mine. I don't take any clients on if it's in person now, unless it's someone who I've previously worked with. Because, like, I think, don't get me wrong, one-to-one personal training in person is great for getting results if all the things are in place away from the session.
Yeah.
I think if someone just wants training for an hour, if someone wants beasting for an hour, that's also cool. That's not something I personally do, but there's nothing wrong with that. In terms of like an actual physical result, like you need to be focusing on the stuff away from the session. And I think a lot of the time, the problem with personal training is the client puts a huge emphasis on that 1 hour.
Yeah.
They think that if they can pay for like a block of 10 PT sessions, and then after those 10 PT sessions, they're going to be like 2 stone down, ripped abs, you know. And as you well know, mate, that's just not the case whatsoever. So for me, I wanted to put more of an emphasis on the fact that, yes, obviously the gym is going to help to get you in shape, but it's not those 4 hours a week that you spend in the gym that makes the difference. It's the other 164 hours.
Yeah.
Where what really makes or break your progress. And I just wanted to get that point across a lot more, because as much as you try to get the point across when you're an in-person trainer, people still put the value and the emphasis on that 1 hour a week. And I get it. I understand why they do it. But I think online coaching just hits home the fact that it's not about that 1 hour session, you know?
100%. And I think that is like, that is a perfect point to like hammer home, because you have people that will be like, oh, I was out on the beers, had like 12 pints on Saturday, pizza, KFC, but it's all right because on Monday I'm going to do my 1 hour in the gym for the week, you know?
Yeah, burn it all off.
Yeah. And it's, and they go into those cycles, basically like, oh, I want to push myself really hard in the gym, but now I can reward myself by eating extra calories, you know, and they get into that, and it doesn't click that it's a lifestyle change rather than, you know, that it's like, I think it's an old boxing saying, to be fair, that you can't outwork a bad diet, you know. It might be boxing, probably from some other, but I mean, it's pretty much true, to be fair. No matter how hard you train, especially as you get older, you know, you can't cheat a bad diet. If everything in your life isn't lined up to support your goals, that hour in the gym not really going to have much impact, you know, to get you to where you want to go.
100%, mate. And a good example is a client of mine, actually, from the first lockdown, Mick. I've posted about him a few times on my social media. He lost 2.5 stone, and he didn't do a single workout. I think he did like one home workout, and he didn't like it. Like he didn't like working out. He said to me, Elliot, I want to lose weight, but I don't like working out. So I'm like, right, you know, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but only a little bit. We can still do it. And he literally just walked. That's all he did. Walked, controlled his calories, and he dropped 2.5 stone. And like, I tell people this story and they think I'm lying. Like, I posted about it and someone messaged me and they were like, why are you lying? Why are you lying about this guy losing 2.5 stone if he's not done a workout? Like, and then I've had, because a lot of the stuff I post about is, so it can come across as like as I'm anti-gym, especially during lockdown, because I was talking a lot about the fact that you don't need a gym to lose weight and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And I think people were getting a bit confused by it and saying, oh, well, why are you telling people not to work out? You're a PT. And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, working out helps, but it's not everything. You know, it's 5% of your daily calories burnt, which is not a lot. Not a lot whatsoever.
That's it. It's like, they say, compared to like walking about, you know, like if you took someone and you were generous with the amount of calories they burnt during a gym workout in an hour, it's not going to be that high.
Yeah.
You know, and if that person then goes and walks everywhere for the day, says, you know what, I'm going to, instead of driving to the office, I only live 20 minutes away, I'll walk instead, you know, and they go for a walk on their lunchtime, they walk. They're going to burn a fuck ton load more calories doing that than they are in the gym. And obviously, the gym's going to help when it comes to like building or maintaining a bit of muscle during the weight loss period.
Yes.
So, you know, it definitely has its benefits, but when it comes to weight loss, it's 100%. It's not the most important variable, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caveat on the top.
Yeah, 100%. And I say to my guys that the gym is a place to get strong, to move better, to have fun.
Yeah.
And you get strong, build muscle. It's not a place to burn calories.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't be going to the gym to burn calories. Like, you really shouldn't, because one, your smartwatch or the treadmill, when it tells you how many calories you've burned, it's way off.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably way off anyway. And secondly, like, for me, it just creates a really, really bad relationship towards exercise. Like, oh, I've got to go to the gym. I need to burn this amount of calories today. It's like, no, you go into the gym because you get to go to the gym. You get to become strong. You get to move better. You get to feel better. You know, and all these kinds of things. And that's something that's very prevalent in a lot of people who want to lose weight. They've got a real bad relationship towards not just food, but the gym as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, like, especially with a lot of those people that don't necessarily have a good relationship with the gym or with personal trainers, is that they have to exercise where they maybe don't exercise that much, or they haven't had much exercise experience, and they make the choice to, I'm going to go to the gym to try and get myself feeling healthier, lose a bit of weight, feel more confident, and then they go to the gym and then they get like the drill instructor PT who has like poor Karen doing box jumps with her bad knee, and it's and it's like a drill sergeant just like fucking railing on them to the point where they're like, I did not enjoy that one bit, you know, like that was awful. I was doing all these movements that I can't quite do because, you know, the PT didn't assess me and make sure I could do these movements. They just had me fucking jumping boxes and doing snatches and, you know, all sorts.
Yeah.
And it kind of sours the relationship from the start to the point where they don't go. Whereas if you've got a PT, like an in-person PT who will like assess over your movement capabilities and kind of cater things towards your movement abilities, then you see yourself like you get a challenge that you can do. So you get the uplift, you know, that feeling of like overcoming it, and you get to watch your progress rather than feeling like I'm never going to be able to do this. You're like, yeah, I nailed that, and now I can improve again, and and it builds like a much more positive relationship that they're likely to continue going to the gym, you know?
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. Yeah, and I think you're spot on with what you're saying. Like, a lot of people have this perception of PTs of like just beasting you, telling you you can do two more, shouting at you, and all, you know, all this motivation and all this crap. And I think maybe 10 years ago, that's probably what personal training was like.
Yeah.
And you still see it sometimes, like personal trainers bragging about how they've made the client struggle to walk down the stairs, and it's like, is that really a good session though? Like,
yeah,
come on, we can do better. We can do better, you know.
100%. It's just like, you know, this is like poor Dave. He's a father of two, and he's got to carry his son up the stairs to give him a bath, and now he can't because his legs are fucked. You know, you have him doing Bulgarian split squats with a freaking giant dumbbell where he can barely do a regular squat. You know what I mean? And it's like, now
crazy.
It's insane, like how you see people like taking their clients and pushing them so like you're absolutely going to kill that person. Like, you know, like you can be better than this, like you say.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing I was going to kind of talk about was your work ethic, because I know you're kind of like, you're quite known for putting out a lot of content and like a daily mailing list, and you're training a lot as well, like managing a lot of your own training sessions. So in terms of like that, I wanted to speak to you about how you like kind of fit it in terms of like, do you keep a time diary? How do you organize yourself? Because there's a lot of people, like you say, being a PT yourself, you will have no doubt come up against the I'm too busy objection. I think it's one of the most we get as PTs.
Yeah.
So, can't do it, I'm too busy. I can't do it, I'm too busy. And again, you got a lot going on in terms of like, and you still, like I say, you're managing a lot of training sessions yourself. And obviously the general someone that doesn't want to put the effort in will say, it's like, oh, you work at a gym, that it's okay for you. And obviously now you're working mostly online and still getting it done. So chat to you a little bit about like the amount of content you're putting out, the amount of workouts. How do you balance it all? How do you make time?
Yeah. So the whole thing about people saying they don't have time, the fact of the matter is with this whole don't have time thing, you simply make time for the things that you value the most, right? So, for example, I love what I do. I love making content. I love putting videos, content out there. Like, I absolutely love it. So that's a priority for me. I love training. I love jiu-jitsu. I love the training I'm doing right now. Like, I could be absolutely fucked, absolutely knackered. But I'm not missing a session. Like, if I don't have other things going on with work, like, I'm training regardless of how I feel, purely because I love it so much. And that's pretty much it. Like, I value the things that I do. Obviously, there's stuff in there that I'm scheduling stuff in. I'm quite like self motivated anyway. I'm really clear on what my own personal goals are. So I've got stuff scheduled in, like at certain times and that kind of thing. But I just fill my day with activities that I love. Work, you know, my own private life, my training. I just do things that I love to do, because I always make time for it. It sounds simple, like people watching are probably thinking, oh, has he got like some productivity hack, like, you know, but I literally just do things that I love to do.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much easier. I don't need to find motivation. I don't need to like get myself pumped up to do these tasks. I just do stuff that I really, really love to do. And this can transfer over to a lot of people who want to get in shape and they feel like that they need to motivate themselves to go to the gym. They need to motivate themselves to eat well. Well, they don't need to do that. They just need to find something that they love, find the type of training that they love, find a nutrition plan, an eating plan that includes all the foods they enjoy eating, and life just becomes a hell of a lot easier. And I think I can kind of speak from experience, because for 4 or 5 years of my life, I was in a job that I hated. So I've experienced firsthand what it's like doing shit you hate. Yeah. And now every single thing I do, like, I work with clients that I love to work with. I've got a training program that I love to follow. Obviously, we do the jiu-jitsu, which I love doing. I've got a job that I love. I love putting out content. I love trying to work with new people. So yeah, a lot of the stuff is basically I just prioritize the things that I enjoy, and it makes it a hell of a lot easier. Like, there's very rarely days where you'll hear me moan about having to work or train, and that's like where I'm at right now. I'm pretty content with what's going on in my life, work, training, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it, mate. Real fucking simple, you know.
To be fair, I think it's pretty underrated things when it comes to like the point you made about you have to enjoy the stuff you're doing to stick to it long term.
Yeah,
that people don't realize. So like you get like your keto crony who's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go on keto and get shredded, and they fucking hate the diet, you know. So they'll be eating for a bit, but be like, okay, I'm going on this diet until I reach point X, and then once I reach point X, I can start living again. Then boom, weight goes back on. You know, it's one of those. And they don't seem to put the kind of pieces together. Like, if I want to stay where I'm at, like where I reach my good point, I'm going to need to find something that I enjoy doing, because like if you don't like doing something, eventually you're going to stop doing it. You know, no one's that sadist that they'll be, or masochist, I suppose, that they'll be doing something like, oh, I fucking hate this. Can't wait to do it again tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. You know, they get to the point they just give up, you know. Finding like a training methodology that people enjoy. And to be fair, I think that's a thing that a lot of people won't like to admit, in terms of like people that enjoy training their clients a certain way, be like, oh, my ways, you know, like your CrossFit boxes or your power lifters and stuff. They have a very training methodology. But the reality is, any of those things, even CrossFit littered with injuries and things like that, is better than nothing, you know. But then say if the client likes going out for long walks, that's better than any of those things. You know, it's all individual to the client, and you can client to their goal for a lot of paths. You know, you just need to find the path that they all stick to. That's the the really.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And I made that mistake as well as a trainer. Like, I was very kind of directing what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And listen, don't get me wrong, to a certain extent, there is certain principles that we need to follow. Like, depending on what the goal is. But there's enough exercises out there for the individual to find something that they enjoy. Like, you know, we've got, like, my clients' programs are still based around the squat, the upper body pull, the upper body push, hip hinge, all those fundamental movements in terms of lifting. But under all those movements, there's hundreds of different exercises. So,
Yeah.
like, it'll probably take a trial and error sometimes, but for the most part, there's always going to be an exercise that falls under those brackets that someone's going to enjoy performing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't care what anyone says. There's a program out there for everyone that they're going to enjoy doing. It's as simple as that. I had something else to say, but I forgot.
Sorry, my life, that mate.
I'm just waffling too much.
I put it down to the fact that I've been punched many times in my life, so there's got to be something not quite.
Oh, I've just remembered it, because I used to bash like people going to classes a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it got to a point where I was like, well, what if people just like going to classes?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I've trained back when I trained women. I had an online client, a female, and I didn't even program her any workouts because she just did classes, and it worked really well. So yeah, one thing I've learned is you can still be married to a type of training, but don't be open-minded to other things, because as a coach, like, the client comes first, right? And you've got to give them what they want.
100%.
Yeah.
Hey, with that example of like classes, you might get like the snobby coach being like, oh, that's not personalized towards her. It's not bad. But at the end of the day, if she enjoys doing it, she's going there, she's socializing. So she's making it a social experience with her friends that she enjoys doing, and she's moving compared to sitting at home on the couch, you know, which is not going to get her to her goals. Yeah. And if it takes to get her to the gym, even if the exercises aren't specifically for her, and even in some classes, people will progress and regress things for the individual, even though it's not as personalized. You can get some personalization in there. You look at like, well, that's what she enjoys doing, so that's what she's going to do. You know, you can pull her out of that environment and stick her on her own program, but how long is she going to stick to it? She'll miss her friends. You know, she misses the social. So it's one of those that's, again, it might seem like a good idea on the surface of it. Oh, I can give her a brilliant personalized program. It's going to get her to her goals. But it's only brilliant if she'll fucking do it. If she won't, then what's the point, you know? Yeah,
100%. Yeah, 100%.
We got, want to teach me how to like classes or how to like working out. So you missed that one, Lydia. Basically, something that you enjoy doing. You need to trial and error until you find something that you actually enjoy doing. That's what you're going to stick with in terms of working out. And there'll be something, even if it's walking, or jogging, which I fucking hate. But you know, there's always.
Me too. Yeah, the thing is, if there's a type of exercise that you're struggling to find that you enjoy, like, reach out to a friend, like, you know, go for a walk, get a podcast on, you know, create a playlist of music that you like, put your headphones in, go for a walk. You know, weather's really nice as well at the minute, so no excuses to not get out and do that. But you can always find something that you enjoy doing 100%. Like Costa said, takes a bit of trial and error, but there will be something, 100%.
It was like one of my clients, who's one of the first things we kind of got to focus on with him was stress levels, because he was, you know, he found like his job was quite stressful. And when we talked about the pattern of his day, it would basically, because he got control of when he would work, he would get stressed to the point where he'd take like a 2-3 hour lunch break and then work late into the evening to make up for it, and it wasn't ideal. So he'd be like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, I'm really stressed, I'm gonna go watch a film or something in the middle of the day. But obviously we were talking about how does it work for him, and he's like, you know, it's not really working because I'm then working late and getting stressed. And we were talking about what other options he has, and it turned out he has a punch bag in his garage. And I was like, what about if you're feeling stressed, why don't you like glove up and go in there and just set yourself a 5-minute timer and then just absolutely beat the shit out of the punch bag. And if in 5 minutes you feel better, perfect. But if you don't, then you can still go watch your film, you know, but at least you hit something before you watch your film, so you feel probably a little bit better.
And I guarantee he always felt better.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, for people that are not advocates of violence, there's a lot to be said about hitting something that is pretty therapeutic. So it's one of those, if you are stressed and the older stress ball isn't doing it for you, squeeze that thing, I'm still pissed off, get a punch bag. That will out for you.
Totally. 100% agree.
But that's the thing, it's like with obviously with jiu-jitsu, it's like that's a training methodology. If I had my way, I would direct everyone towards that because I absolutely love doing it.
Yeah.
But that said, I enjoy bringing people on that enjoy jiu-jitsu. You know, that's like, oh, this is perfect. But it's a massively polarizing thing. And if I get someone in there like, oh, I don't like touching people, and I'll be like, I'm not going to force jiu-jitsu on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Horses for courses, isn't it? It's not the move for them.
Yeah. I think everyone should definitely at least try it. 100%. 100%. Like, honestly, I played rugby for probably a combined total of nearly 20 years of my life, and I've never enjoyed a sport as much as I have jiu-jitsu, and I've been doing it 4 months.
Yeah.
And I can say hands down, I'm enjoying that more than I ever enjoyed like training and playing rugby. It's crazy. Like, yeah, it's fucking. I definitely recommend anyone just to try it. You might not like it, but yeah, you've got to give it a go. And if you do, come to Sweatbox.
Yeah, 100%. If they were still in there, yeah. But yeah, to be fair, I was just like a random point I was going to say. Like 20 years of rugby, you're in pretty good nick in terms of avoiding injury and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, my hips are a bit like tight and stuff, and I get random aches and pains every now and again. But yeah, I've come out relatively unscathed in that period of time. Fortunately, yeah.
As I say, that's a good effort. When it comes to people that play sports, as much I'm an advocate of people pursuing goals like that in terms of sport, because it's fun. You build a community and you can get to your goal. So even if you're playing it just to lose weight or something, you're going to do that while having an amazing time.
Yeah.
But like I say, there's always a toll on the body if you're not diligent with your rest and your rehab and you know, and your mobility and stuff. There can always be like knock-on effects in terms of like aches and pains and stuff like that. So for you to come out of it in one piece is good going, but also a good sign for people that are in that to how to do it well, how to train themselves to not fuck their body up, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Like I said, that was the majority of the stuff I wanted to chat to you about. To be fair, it's good to have you on. Finally, like pay it forward because you got me into doing this. Is another thing for anyone that missed it that Elliot kind of got me into doing by having me onto his life. And I figured I might as well pay it forward and kind of show him to all of you guys that didn't get to see me on his. Because like I say, we have pretty similar like outlook on the way of like the way we approach coaching clients in terms of just not hammering them and making it sustainable. You know, it's like the anti-month-long fat loss fad diet approach, basically. You know, like,
yeah, definitely.
Always grateful to see people of that ilk, you know, because when you see the other side of it, it does make you lose the will to live sometimes.
100%. It's a lifestyle at the end of the day, and that's what I said to my clients. And every single client, I can't really think of any clients who have left me and are not still training. And that's the impact I want to make. Like, yeah, transformation pictures are brilliant, don't get me wrong, and whenever someone loses a significant amount of weight, it's brilliant. But I think what's more impressive is that they can then go away on their own and just continue training because it's ingrained as part of their lifestyle. Yeah.
Well, that was one of the things that someone had said to me, like, because I posted a picture of like one of my clients reasonably recently, and someone was like, "Oh, you know, you've posted a picture of them before, like, you know, last year," and I was like, "Yeah, they're still in shape. What can I say? You know, it's like it's not like one of those places where you see them." Like they'll post a person up there and you'll never see them on the feed again because once you know, after that 28 days, they're just fucking back to where they started. You know what I mean? Yeah. A year ago, I posted a picture of her. She's still in shape. She's still fucking killing it.
Yeah, exactly. So fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if I posted a picture of her a year later, having lost weight again, there's something that's gone wrong between those two pictures. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like got in shape, got massively out of shape. So like, oh, here we've got another before picture now. No, before picture is here. And it stays there, and now it's just all after. Like she's staying in shape.
Yeah.
That people, when they see these before and after pictures, they get like the oh my god, that looks amazing, but they don't think about the after. You know, like happens to that.
Yeah, and I think as well, like I was speaking to a client today actually, one of my new clients. We were talking about Everyone's talking about fat loss and how to lose weight and to get to this dream physique, but no one talks about how to maintain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one talks about it, and it's like, come on, like, you know, it's all well and good telling someone how to get there, but you've got to tell them how to stay there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why so many people just go around in circles, and, you know, they might lose weight, but they'll gain it. And, you know, it's down to a number of things, which I won't get into today. But, yeah, I think we need to be talking about the power of maintenance a lot more. Because life at maintenance is fucking amazing. You know,
100%.
More food, more strength, you keep your gains. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, literally, I'm at the point now of my physique where I would say I'm being more indulgent than I need to be.
Yeah.
But I know that, like, I can stay where I'm at now, and I'm at reasonably in good shape. Like, my body fat percentage is pretty low. I'm pretty fit, pretty strong. I can stay where I'm at now with very little effort. And
Yes.
and if I wanted to lose a couple of kilos, I could also do that with minor changes. If I wanted to get like absolutely shredded, the trade-off just wouldn't be worth it long term for me. I'd be like, I fucking miss my chocolate, man. I miss the things that I enjoy doing, so I'm not staying there for long.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a similar position now. Like, obviously, like the first sort of 3 months of this year, I lost 8 kilos in total.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at around about 84, and I'm at maintenance now. I feel good when I train. I feel good in day-to-day life. I'm eating all the foods that I enjoy. But then I'm going to start another fat loss phase probably in a couple of weeks. So I'm just making the most of weekly pizzas right now, and I love it. I love it.
But to be fair, I was actually going to mention, because you posted about like the fact that you hadn't had a drink in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things I actually meant to ask you, especially with like coaching guys and stuff like that, and being a part of like guy culture, going out for a beer with the lads and stuff like that. Liquid calories, they're like something that often get overlooked quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like someone said to me, like, oh, you know, I've had objections before. Once we've got past the point where it's like, okay, we've realized that you're not too busy, so you can do this now. Then the next objection is, well, I'm not giving up my weekly going out for drinking and stuff like that. It's like, okay, fair enough. I'm not saying you have to, but do you know how much you're having? You know,
Yeah.
and if you get them to track, like, how many beers you have last night, well, how many calories is that? Then they're absolutely horrified by the amount of liquid calories they're taking in.
Yeah.
How have you found it, like, personally for yourself, in terms of like the change that it made to you by not drinking, and have you had clients where it's become like something that you'd had to focus on because they're stifling their goals by boozing too much?
Yeah. I think what I've noticed, not just with myself but with clients as well, it's not so much the alcohol that's making them gain the weight, it's the day after.
Yeah.
Hangover, cravings are high, you can't be asked cooking, you're probably not going to train, you're probably not going to work out, go for a walk. So you're not, like, you're consuming your calories on a Friday night, Saturday night through alcohol, but then you're also consuming a shit ton of calories the next day as well. And let's face it, as much as we all like to think as coaches, as much as we like to preach to people, oh, just get back on it the next day, no one's fucking craving a salad when they're hungover. I'm sorry, but no one's eating veg when they're hungover. They're just not, you know. And if they say they are, they're probably lying, right?
Yep.
So I think if someone wants to get in shape but they're not willing to give up their weekend antics, not for good, don't get me wrong, we can still make it fit, but if you're not willing to give it up every single weekend, you're not ready to get in shape. It's as simple as that. You're not. Yeah. And as much as people preach about, oh, you can go out drinking every weekend and get in shape, it makes it a hell of a lot harder. It makes it a hell of a lot harder, unnecessarily harder. So if you're not willing to kind of trade that off for something else, you're just not ready to get in shape. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's basically the equivalent of someone saying like, oh, I'm going to drive cross country, and then taking one of the tires off the car before they set off, you know.
Yeah.
It's,
recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's like you're making this so much harder for yourself. But I think that day after thing is legitimately one of the most important parts. say this to people. I say, look, you know, if you're going to go out and you're going to have 12 pints, wherever it might be, fair enough. Like, accept that. Before you go out, during that week, I want you to prep the food for the 2 days following, because otherwise you're going to wake up and it's going to be pizza and it's going to be sitting on the couch with Greg's and you're going to do anything. At least have some readily available good food choices that are going to suit your goals. So that way you don't have the excuse of, oh, I'm too dying to cook, I'm going to just grab a pizza. Because you cook something that is, doesn't have to be a salad, but it can be something like more beneficial than a Domino's, you know?
Yeah.
And trying to get them into that habit. And I think if someone's 100% not willing to give up going out and sinking a boatload of pints every single weekend, then yeah, you know, they're probably not ready for like massive change. But if they're not to at least prep the food for the following day, they're really not ready for change.
Yeah, definitely. 100% agree. 100% agree.
I think that's a lesson to a lot of the folks watching. If you find yourself stuck where you're at and you're struggling to reach your goals, have a look at what your boozing is like, and have a very specific look at what your food is like the next day after your boozing. And see if there's some changes you can make there. And like I said, it doesn't have to be every week, but it doesn't have to be that you have to go get pissed every week, you know. There's a happy middle ground in there.
Yeah, so definitely.
So man, if people want to get on board with you, or just to find out more, because like I said, I know you've got a daily email list, which is another thing that is insane in terms of like your work ethic and things like that. But if people want to get involved with you, get on that mailing list, or work with you, or just find out more about what you're doing, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm going to use the very cringe phrase that everyone uses right now. So, link in bio. If you want to join the email list, like Costa said, check out the YouTube channel. Want to inquire about working with me, just press the link in my bio. All the stuff that you need to know is on there. Go follow my page, Train with Elliot. Content on there pretty much every day. And yeah, drop me a DM. I reply to all DMs. More than happy to kind of have a chat with you if you've got any questions that you want to ask me regarding fitness, nutrition, health, anything like that. Yeah, follow me, slide in the DMs, and I'll be more than happy to help.
Sweet. What I'll do is I'll tag you in this, so anyone can just basically click on that and follow you. But also, now that I know that you respond to all your DMs, I'm going to send all the people that try and sell me geese to your inbox.
As long as they're giving me discount, it's all right.
Oh yeah, it's at less rate. You know, you'll get good quality wares. If I get that script one more time, I'm literally going to just like get my water jug here and then just like slam my face through it. It's one of those.
Yeah. I think a guy joined mine. You were on, weren't you?
Yeah.
He started joining the other ones like for a couple of weeks after. I ended up having to block him.
Yeah, to be fair, that was, I don't think I mentioned it. That was probably my fault, because he was in my DMs maybe about 20 minutes before we kicked off, and I was kind of winding him up and like baiting him a little bit.
Right.
I was saying I was going to go to like his competitors because they were undercutting his price, and I was looking. I was like, nah, man, this is just not good quality, man. And he was getting really upset, and so he jumped in the live.
Now I know to point finger at Costa. Thanks for that.
Yeah. I remember that conversation. Like while we were chatting, I could see him like just spamming everyone in the DMs. I was like, oh god, this guy just won't go away.
Yeah. I love it.
Finally, no longer in my DMs. So one in the end.
Yeah.
Thanks for jumping on, man. Like I said, I wanted to get you on because, like I say, you kind of motivated me to pull my finger out and get hustling with my own garage and kind of like shape where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Go forward with my PT career. And I think that's beneficial for, firstly, like young PTs in the game that basically are finding themselves a bit lost for direction. They get a lot of good content from this.
Yeah.
And obviously guys that are putting off trying to come and work with you because they don't have enough time yet, tackling that hurdle before it comes up, so they can be like, you know what, I want to get in touch with you. I'm gonna get on it now.
Yeah, and I'll just leave it on that by saying, if you're telling yourself you don't have time to do something, you're full of shit.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah,
Thanks.
so Costa, thanks for having me, mate. I'm always very grateful when people ask me to jump on and do these things. As you can probably tell, I like waffling on, I like talking all things fitness and stuff like that. So yeah, just massively appreciate you getting me on, mate. And I'm sure I'll see you very soon.
Indeed, yeah. Once we can get back on the mats, eh?
Yeah. Fingers crossed. It's been a while.
Yeah. Easy. Thanks for everyone joining in as well, and I'll catch you all later.
Cheers. See you later.